Hi, I'm Dr. Michelle Diabundo, and my professional background is in health education. My PhD is in adult education, and I took a lot of interdisciplinary courses in psychology, education, and research during that time. My master's is in health promotion and health education, and my undergraduate degree is in sociology. I'm a certified health education specialist, and I also have two coaching certifications. One is in life and leadership coaching, and the other one is in health and wellness coaching. And then I'm also getting certified as a social and emotional learning facilitator and a yoga instructor right now. To provide an overview of my research, I do interdisciplinary research, and I have about 54 publications and 45 presentations on a variety of different issues that include wellness, physical education, well-being, online learning, online teaching, leadership, clinical research, and a lot of that work is oriented from a social justice perspective. I am interested in big qual research, which is very innovative in the field of qualitative research. That means that a study has over 100 participants or responses. And I've been developing something called a general qualitative online study, which takes some of the principles of large qualitative data sets and then adapts them for an online data collection. A lot of my students are very interested in this, and this is an up and coming qualitative methodology. And I'm currently writing an article about that for a qualitative journal. I also have two large big qual studies that I'm working on right now. And one of them is quality of life while working from home. And the second one is physical activity during COVID-19. What emerged from our preliminary research on those two projects was that social and emotional issues are very important during COVID-19 to individuals and groups. And so I started to think about what I needed to understand in order to be able to analyze and provide some suggestions for practice, whether it was for health educators, higher education personnel, or even healthcare practitioners. And what I found was that social and emotional learning was really important, and I'm currently getting certified in that as a result, and many of my students are interested in using that for their dissertations as well. What would be my advice for students who are interested in applying to a PhD program? The first thing I would say is write down your goals, because it's really important to understand why you want to get a PhD, and also what do you want to accomplish during your PhD. The reason why I say that is because my professor during my PhD program, my very first professor, suggested on the first day of class that we write down why we were getting a PhD and what our goals were for getting that PhD. And he had us write it down and put it in a self-addressed envelope. And he said he would send it to us when we finished our PhD. Well, many years later, he must have found me online and he sent me that self-addressed envelope. And I was able to see why I wanted to get a PhD and what my goals were. And I was really excited to see that I achieved the goals that I wanted to achieve. And it had a really profound effect on me. And so I always suggest to students that they start out with thinking about why and what they want to accomplish during their PhD. So another thing that I would say to students is ask yourself, is it realistic for you to start the PhD journey at this time? I would have students really think about how much time do they spend or they need for their personal life, for their family, for their current jobs, and that they would tack on about 10 to 20 hours per week in order for them to be able to complete all the work associated with a PhD, whether it's studying, doing assignments, writing, studying for any tests or even preparing their own research. And toward the end, that will probably increase a bit when they're working on their dissertation. So really thinking about, do you have the time and will you be able to balance all the things that you have to do while you're completing the program? And then finally, I would really recommend that they think about themselves as self-directed learners. And the reason why I say that is because when I first graduated and I got my first position as a professor, my colleagues would ask me, how do you know how to do all this? And I would say, because the faculty in my PhD program taught me to be a self-directed learner. And that's always been the goal for me as a professor, that I want my students to learn how to be a self-directed learner, a self-directed thinker, a self-directed researcher, a self-directed scholar, and a self-directed leader. So I really encourage people to think about the fact that they will become self-directed, and that will involve learning self-awareness skills and self-management skills. And I think that's really an important thing for people to think about, because it's so different than things they might have experienced in an undergrad or master's program.